In a kingdom that fears demons, one knight abandoned everything to protect the girl the kingdom wanted dead. But some secrets were never meant to awaken.
The Kingdom. Beneath the ashes. The kingdom that feared the dark snow had been falling over Ilarion for 3 days without pause. It settled over the rooftops of the capital in thick, quiet layers, softening the edges of towers and cathedrals until the city almost looked gentle. Lanterns burned warmly behind frosted windows. Merchants hurried through crowded streets wrapped in heavy cloaks, while children laughed beneath drifting snow. From the outside, Ilarion looked peaceful. That was the illusion the kingdom worked very hard to protect. For nearly 4 centuries, the Holy Order stood beside the royal family as one of the most respected institutions in the kingdom. Their banners hung in every city. Their knights protected trade routes, eliminated monsters, and maintained order across the continent. To ordinary citizens, the Order represented safety. Guild knights represented heroes. Children dreamed of becoming them. Every year, promising boys and girls from across Ilarion were selected for guild training. Most never passed the examinations. Those who did were raised under strict discipline, taught to suppress fear, hesitation, and attachment. The kingdom came first. Always. Ryu had once believed that completely. Now he wasn't so sure. Rumors had begun spreading through the northern territories in recent years. Villages disappearing near the mountains, strange lights beneath snowstorms, ancient ruins buried beneath frozen valleys, entire excavation teams vanishing without explanation. The Holy Order dismissed such stories as superstition. Most people accepted that answer. People in Ilarion preferred certainty, especially when the alternative was fear. And nothing frightened the kingdom more than demons. Demons were monsters in every story ever told to children. Creatures of destruction, corruption, chaos. Anything carrying demon blood was treated as dangerous. But sometimes, dangerous things looked completely human. Far north of the capital, hidden deep within Frostwood Forest, a crooked cabin stood beside a frozen river. The cabin looked as though it had survived purely out of stubbornness. Inside, firelight flickered softly across worn wooden walls. Ryu sat beside the fireplace, sharpening his sword in silence. The black and gold armor resting nearby carried fresh damage from their last encounter with mercenaries 3 days earlier. His blue cape hung drying beside the fire, stained with mud and snow. He looked tired, not physically, but somewhere behind his eyes. Guild Knight Ryu had spent most of his life obeying orders. Now he spent every waking moment running from the kingdom he once served. Across the room, a pile of blankets shifted slightly. A tail thumped against the wooden floor. Ryu didn't look up. "You're awake." Silence. Then 2 violet eyes peeked over the blankets. "I'm not." "You stopped snoring." "I do not snore." "You absolutely do." "That is slander." Ryu finally glanced toward her. Hyori glared back at him with all the dignity of someone buried beneath 5 blankets. He had to admit, it was becoming strangely comforting. When he first found her inside the dungeon, beneath Loreth Vale, she looked terrifying. A half-demon girl surrounded by monsters reduced to ash, purple magic flooding the ruins, enough power to vaporize stone. Now, she mostly looked annoyed. "I also discovered you drool in your sleep," Ryu added calmly. The blankets exploded upward. "I will vaporize you." "You threaten that a lot, because you deserve it." Ryu smirked faintly. Hyori immediately turned red. Purple sparks crackled around her head. Her illusion flickered. Small black horns briefly appeared through her hair. Ryu immediately looked away toward the fireplace. I didn't see anything. You saw everything. I saw nothing. You're literally staring at the wall. The wall is very interesting. You are impossible. Despite herself, Hyori laughed, softly. The horns disappeared again, and for a brief moment, the crushing fear inside her chest eased. Hyori eventually emerged fully from the blankets and sat beside the fire. The warm glow reflected softly against her pale skin and black hair. To most people, she looked completely human. That was the problem. Half demons were not supposed to exist. Yet, she existed. And lately, her magic had started changing. 3 days ago, during an ambush in the mountains, she had lost control. Not completely, but enough. The memory still haunted her. The sound of the mountainside collapsing, the purple light, the feeling of something ancient answering her rage. Worst of all, part of her remembered enjoying it. That terrified her more than the destruction itself. You're thinking about leaving again, Ryu said quietly. Hyori froze. How do you always know? You look at the door every time your magic gets worse. She lowered her gaze. Outside, snow drifted silently through the trees. You should have left me back in that dungeon, she whispered. Ryu stopped sharpening his sword. You didn't know me. You didn't owe me anything. You could have stayed a guild knight. You could have gone back to your life. My life? Ryu laughed quietly. The sound surprised even him. Hyori, I don't think I ever really had one before meeting you. She stared at him. Her cheeks turned bright red almost instantly. That sounded romantic. It wasn't supposed to. That somehow makes it worse. Purple magic sparked again. Her tail lashed violently against the floor. Ryu looked away once more. You're glowing. Stop commenting on it. I'm just observing. You are the least helpful person I have ever met. Probably true. Hyori buried her face in her hands. And somewhere, beneath the embarrassment, she realized she didn't want to leave anymore. That realization scared her almost as much as the magic. Far beneath the capital of Valerian, below the holy cathedral, below even the forgotten crypts hidden beneath the city, something ancient stirred. The chamber was older than the kingdom itself, older than the order, older than recorded history. Massive black stone pillars stretched endlessly into darkness, untouched by sunlight for centuries. There were no torches, no sound, no warmth, only silence. Then slowly, something opened its eyes. Violet light filled the darkness, ancient, patient, watching, not demonic, something far older, and somewhere far away inside the Frostwood cabin. Hyori suddenly tightened her grip around the blanket. A strange feeling passed through her chest, like something impossibly distant had briefly noticed she existed. The fire crackled softly. Ryu looked toward her. You all right? Hyori hesitated, then forced a small smile. Yeah. But later that night, she dreamed of endless violet eyes staring upward from beneath the world. And, for the first time in her life, Hyori felt afraid of something other than herself. The Frostwood region marked the edge of civilized territory. Beyond the forests lay frozen mountain ranges, abandoned ruins, and ancient valleys most travelers avoided entirely. Ryu and Hyori continued northward to avoid guild patrols. The deeper they traveled into the frontier, the stranger the world became. Villages were smaller, the nights quieter, the people more suspicious, and rumors followed them everywhere. The demon witch, the Black Knight, the fugitives who destroyed an entire platoon of royal soldiers. Hyori hated the stories. Ryu mostly ignored them, until the bounty hunters arrived. The first hunter attacked them during a snowstorm. The second arrived 2 days later. By the end of the week, entire mercenary groups had begun tracking them through the northern roads. Most were ordinary men chasing reward money. One was not. Kale Draven, known across the frontier as the Ash Hunter. Silver-haired, calm, cold, a man carrying anti-magic weapons forged specifically to kill creatures infused with demonic mana. When Kale finally confronted them near the ruins of an abandoned watchtower, Hyori immediately felt afraid. Not because he looked cruel, because he looked experienced, like someone who had already killed things like her before. Ryu stepped protectively in front of her. Kale noticed immediately. "That's interesting," he said quietly.